Have you ever wondered why some homes seem to welcome fortune the moment you step in, while others, just as beautiful, feels strangely heavy, as if prosperity pauses at the door, then slips away? This is the hidden truth of Feng Shui. Your front door is not just wood and hinges, it is the mouth of Qi, the very gateway where energy decides to stop or to flow. And in this video, I'll show you 5 powerful ways to transform your entrance into a living wealth gateway, from subtle colors to outdoor adjustments to daily rituals that invite abundance to step inside. The first step may surprise you. For centuries, merchants and noble families across Asia understood this secret. In old Beijing and Kyoto, thresholds were guarded more carefully than safes because fortune doesn't begin in the marketplace, it begins at the door. Now, most people think wealth depends on lucky charms or expensive decor. It doesn't. The real force is energy flow, invisible, yet as real as the wind. When that current at your entrance is blocked, abundance is diverted, just like a river forced to turn away. But before we begin, let me ask you, when you open your front door, what's the very first thing you see? Share it in the comments. It might reveal more than you think. Point 1. Assessing your front door's Qi. When you step through your own front door, do you feel embraced or do you feel burdened? For many, that first breath inside is not relief, but resistance. The very threshold that should protect them instead whispers heaviness. In Feng Shui, this is no small detail. The front door is the mouth of Qi, the entry point for life's opportunities. If it leaks, wealth slips past you before it even has a chance to arrive. But here's the promise. You don't need charts, compasses, or costly renovations to know what's happening. Your own body is already telling you the truth. Tonight, I'll show you how to feel whether your doorway is quietly draining or quietly nourishing you. Consider Teresa, a small business owner in Manila. Every morning, she turned the key to her clothing shop, but instead of excitement, a sigh escaped her lips. Even before opening the register, she felt tired, as if her energy had already been spent. Customers often walked in, looked around, and left quickly. Something invisible pressed against them all. When a Feng Shui consultant visited, she didn't measure or calculate. She simply asked Teresa to pause at the door, close her eyes, and notice her body. Teresa felt her chest tighten, her shoulders drew in, her breath caught shallow. And then she saw it. Stacks of unopened boxes blocking half the entrance. The very mouth of her shop was clogged. Science quietly echoes this. Environmental psychologists have found that clutter at thresholds spikes cortisol, raises stress, and blurs clarity. The body knows before the mind admits it. And that is the twist most people miss. Your breath, your shoulders, your chest are the compass needles of Feng Shui. They tell you instantly whether energy flows or suffocates. Here's how you can try it. Tonight, before stepping inside your home, pause. Close your eyes gently. Take one slow breath. Feel your body. Does your chest expand or does it tighten? Do your shoulders drop or do they brace? If there's constriction, it's not just stress. It may be your first sign that your Qi is blocked. Teresa's story didn't end with a theory. She cleared the boxes, swept the threshold, and kept her doorway open. The very next morning, she felt lighter turning the key. Within weeks, customers lingered, conversations stretched, sales steadied. She said it was as though the shop itself had begun to breathe with her, not against her. Think of your own front door. If the welcome mat is frayed, if the entry is blocked, If the light is dim, fortune hesitates to enter. But if the space is clear, if breath can deepen as you cross the line, then fortune feels safe to enter. So let your doorway speak to you tonight, not in words, but in the rise and fall of your own breath. Because if your body tenses at the very place you call home, wealth may already be walking past. If you've ever felt this subtle resistance, I'd love to know. Share your reflection in the comments, even a single word. It may be the first step towards listening to your own chi. Now that you've felt how your body reveals the truth of energy, let's explore the next layer, the very colors and materials that shape your door's invitation.
Point 2. Color, material, and directional guidance. What if the very color of your front door has been quietly turning fortune away? It doesn't matter how beautiful the rooms inside are. If the mouth of your home sends the wrong signal, opportunity often chooses another place to rest. In Singapore, a young couple lived in an apartment with a door painted flat gray. They had chosen it because it felt safe, neutral, yet their evenings always felt strangely subdued. Friends came for dinner but rarely stayed long. Even the couple themselves noticed that each night, as they stepped across that gray frame, a heaviness seemed to settle over their conversations. One day, with guidance, they repainted the door a deep glowing red, a fire element color suited for their south-facing entrance. The difference startled them. Dinner stretched late into the night. Laughter lingered in the air. They described it as if warmth itself had finally learned their address. This may sound mystical, but science gives us clues. Color psychology shows that warm tones such as red and amber spark optimism, while cold or dull tones can flatten mood. Materials too carry weight in the subconscious. A solid wooden door communicates stability. A thin or peeling surface whispers fragility. Even without words, we register these signals, and so does energy. Feng Shui provides a clear map to bring these signals into harmony. Each direction corresponds to an element, and each element has colors and textures that strengthen it. If your door faces south, it belongs to fire. Reds, purples, and sturdy wood amplify vitality. If it faces north, it belongs to water. Deep blues or glossy finishes enhance flow. An east-facing door belongs to wood. Greens, teals, and natural grains invite growth. A west-facing door belongs to metal. Whites, silvers, or metallic touches create clarity. You don't need to repaint your door overnight. Even a single accent, a mat, a hanging cloth, a small decoration can shift the resonance. The point is not cosmetic beauty, it is alignment. When the colors at your threshold echo the element of its direction, the space feels alive. Think again of the couple in Singapore. Their door had been shutting out more than light. It had been muting the spirit of their gatherings, dimming opportunities they could not name. Repainting wasn't just design. It was a declaration. This home welcomes vitality. And once declared, life responded. The right color does more than please the eye. It changes how you carry yourself through the doorway. So let me ask, if the shade of your door could decide whether prosperity pauses or passes, would you dare to change it? Tell me in the comments, even a simple yes or no, and let this be the first stroke of paint in your own story. Color and material create the frame. But there is something just beyond the door that is equally powerful. The space outside, the Ming Tang, decides whether energy even pauses before entering. Point 3. The importance of the Ming Tang.
Have you ever opened your front door and felt like life itself just rushed past, as if prosperity never even stopped to knock? Often, the problem isn't the door itself, it's the space just outside. In Feng Shui, this sacred zone is called the Ming, the bright hall where energy pauses to decide whether it will enter. If there is no place where it to rest, wealth rarely crosses the threshold. Margaret, a widow in Toronto, knew this feeling well. Each evening, she returned to her townhouse and climbed bare steps to a dark, unlit landing. There was no softness to greet her, no warmth to mark her return. Visitors, too, often looked uneasy, glancing over their shoulders as they waited at her door. She confessed she felt as though her home had no true boundary, exposed, unanchored, almost forgotten. One winter evening, on a friend's advice, she tried something simple. She placed 2 tall evergreen plants on either side of her entrance and hung a small lantern glowing with amber light. The very next night, she paused before entering and felt a shift. The space no longer pushed her forward, it invited her to linger. Neighbors stopped by more often, conversations grew warmer, and Margaret said she finally felt protected, yet open. Her Ming Tong had awakened. Modern research in architecture quietly affirms this. Studies show that when thresholds are lit and framed with natural forms, trust increases. People hesitate not from fear, but from comfort. The body reads the space as safe. Without that pause, both humans and energy rush onward, never settling. You can test your own Ming Tong tonight. Step outside and look at your entrance, not as the owner, but as a guest. Do your eyes have a place to rest? Is there a softness, a light, a shape, a symbol that says, welcome? Or does the space feel empty, harsh, or hurried? The solutions are not complicated. A pair of plants to frame the doorway, a lantern with warm light, a stone, a sculpture, or even a clean mat that gives the eye a point of rest. Each of these tells incoming qi, you are safe to pause here. You are invited to stay. Think of the Ming Tong as the lobby of your life. If that lobby is dark or cluttered, opportunity rarely waits. But if it is open, calm, and softly lit, prosperity feels welcomed and enters willingly. So tonight, ask yourself, does energy have a place to pause outside your door? If not, even one simple gesture, a light, a plant, a stone, can become the waiting room where fortune finally stops to catch its breath. If you try this, I'd love to know. Share in the comments what your entrance feels like now. Even a single word like open or crowded is enough to begin seeing your Ming Tong with new eyes. But energy doesn't stop at the threshold. Once it crosses, what it meets in the first few steps inside can either welcome it or chase it back out.
Point 4. Internal Entryway Secrets. Even when the outside feels warm and inviting, many homes unknowingly push fortune away the moment you step inside. The first 3 feet past your front door are some of the most critical space in all of Feng Shui. This is where energy has just agreed to enter, and in that instant, it decides whether to stay or slip away. Take Mr. Tang, a retired engineer in Malaysia. His finances were stable on paper, yet every time bills arrived, his chest tightened. He couldn't explain why a man with savings and security still lived in quiet unease. When a consultant visited, she noticed something immediately: a tall mirror directly facing his front door. Each time he entered, his own image and the energy itself was flung straight back outside. Instead of welcoming qi, the mirror scattered it. Feng Shui calls this dispersal. Psychology calls it disorientation. Sudden visual bounce makes the body feel ungrounded, like standing on shifting sand. Mr. Tang removed the mirror.
In its place, he set a low wooden bench, a soft rug, and a potted jade plant. That very evening, he described feeling calmer, as if the house was finally ready to hold him instead of push him away. Over the months that followed, something subtle but profound changed. His worries about money softened. He still budgeted carefully, but without the constant edge of fear. He said, "For the first time in years, my home feels like it's on my side." What greets you inside your own door speaks louder than most realize. Sharp objects, piles of clutter, or broken furniture at the threshold whisper instability. But grounding objects, a plant rooted in soil, a solid table, even a small bowl for keys with satisfying weight, all signal safety. Stand just inside your door tonight and look around slowly. Does anything push your attention back out? Do your eyes scatter, or do they settle? Do you feel invited to take a breath, or hurried to move on? If your entry feels unsettled, start with one change. Remove what distracts, replace it with what grounds. This is not decoration, it is instruction, telling Qi whether to stay or leave. And once your home instructs energy to remain, you may find your own mind doing the same with fortune, allowing it to linger rather than fearing it will disappear. The first 3 feet inside your home decide more than design. They decide whether wealth feels like a guest or a stranger never invited to sit down. So I ask you, what greets you when you open your own door? Share one thing you'll remove or one thing you'll add in the comments below. That single act may be the gesture that allows prosperity to finally take a seat in your life. And finally, we arrive at the last secret, the one that transforms your doorway from silent wood into a living rhythm, a heartbeat that calls abundance back again and again.
Point 5. Daily rituals to activate wealth qi. Even the most beautifully designed front door will lose its power if it sits lifeless day after day. A doorway is not only a structure, it is a heartbeat. Without rhythm, even the grandest entrance falls silent. In Feng Shui, it is the daily rituals, the quiet gestures of awakening that keep the mouth of qi alive. In California, there was a grandmother who held to a practice so simple it seemed almost invisible. Each evening, as dusk softened the sky, she lit a small lamp by her front door. She called it her quiet yes to prosperity. Neighbors noticed her entry always seemed to glow, even on gray days. And she herself admitted that no matter how heavy her worries, the act of lighting that lamp calmed her heart. It was as if the house itself exhaled with her. Modern science affirms what tradition has long whispered. Studies on circadian lighting show that warm evening light lowers anxiety, signals safety, and deepens our sense of belonging. A gently lit threshold tells the nervous system, "You can rest now. You are safe here." But light is only one ritual. You might sweep the doorstep each morning, not as a chore, but as a clearing of yesterday's weight. You might place fresh flowers each week, or pause with a breath of gratitude before crossing inside. These small gestures transform the door from silent wood into a living rhythm. And with each repetition, qi is reminded, this home is awake, this home is ready, this home welcomes abundance. Think of your own door. Does it feel tended, alive, a place of return? Or has it grown numb with neglect, passed through in a rush without acknowledgement? A door without ritual is like a bell never rung. Its presence remains, but its power is dormant. The truth is, you do not need wealth to create these rituals. You create wealth through them. Not always in coins or numbers at first, but in a steady shift of heart, a mind that feels safe, an energy that feels alive, a home that whispers yes instead of not yet. And when that shift is made, opportunities find you.
because they sense what you yourself have begun to sense, that this home is breathing with life. It is not the structure alone that shapes your fortune, it is the rhythm of your welcome. So tonight, I invite you to choose one ritual, a lamp, a flower, a breath of gratitude. Let it become your quiet yes. And if you already feel one stirring in your mind, share it in the comments below. Your words may be the spark that inspires someone else to awaken their own threshold, and in doing so, invite abundance to finally cross the line.
Every home begins its story at the front door. Tonight, we explored 5 Feng Shui secrets: how your body feels the qi as you step inside, how the color and material of your door shape fortune's welcome, how the Ming tongue outside allows energy to pause, how the first 3 feet within decide whether wealth stays, and how daily rituals awaken your entrance like a heartbeat. Together, they remind us that prosperity is not only about what we own, but how we invite it to enter. So I invite you now, look at your own doorway with new eyes. What one change will you make tonight? A light? A flower? A cleared space? Even a single breath of gratitude? Share it in the comments below. And if this journey gave you clarity, I warmly welcome you to join our Heart Wisdom community, where we continue to explore the quiet ways energy shapes our lives.